Hello, everyone. Welcome to xyzpodcast. My name is Gary, and today I will have ryoga as my guest. Well, I think we always wanted to do something when you were in Glasgow. I still remember we talked about this idea of like talk session, or sort of things that we expect is gonna be so off tangent, inspired by alphabets from A to Z and in the bathroom. And I think that's quite interesting, which what a shame that we didn't manage to finish that project, because I think in the bathroom, I mean, not not sexually kind of thing. But rather, I think it's nice because when you were in Glasgow and a bunch of us actually stay at your place to do like studio final, and the bathroom that you had at your place is so well insulated in a way. It's not like some like dirty, disgusting toilet. It's actually very nice, like hotel kind of toilet.
It's so weird, bro. Like they have carpeted the toilet,
Yeah, I
which
know.
is for me, it's like what?
I told my friend that having carpet, because I visited a few properties for potential projects. They actually carpeted their toilet. It's actually really different feeling, but my friend really against the idea where toilet is supposed to be a wet area, but in fact it's actually quite dry and clean and fragrant with all the good scent and a perfume and all this. Is actually quite a not a bad idea.
But I agree with your friend, bro. Like I live with it because like mine is like the is the bathtub, right?
Yeah,
So usually like the water will it's not going to be a dry toilet. It's going to be a wet one because the
yeah,
water going to splash everywhere, and it's kind of hassle to clean it up. And then like the other one is a shower, which is like is amazing.
yeah.
The one become a dry toilet though, and it worked, and it's actually very comfy.
Yeah, but I mean, it
And
depends on the carpet. Where you're supposed to have a carpet on top of the carpet, then it makes sense in a way.
yeah. It doesn't make sense, right? I put like what do you call it? It's not a towel, but they kind of like on top of the carpet to make it not as wet as it is.
It's a
So
it's a high spec carpet kind of thing.
but I think like people come here not to listen to our tangent about bathroom.
I know, right? We just opening without introducing the guest, and then straight away we go to the bathroom. I think that's quite interesting because so this episode, please don't expect it's gonna be quite serious. I mean, it's gonna be quite a knowledgeable session, because I think me and Ryoga usually have a quite a deep conversation. Usually, like back then when we were in Glasgow, and then we would talk about things in the morning, particularly inspired by Corbusier a lot.
Yeah.
um, I think the reason why I would like to bring up this kind of A to Z kind of conversation, because it really reminds me of early days of Hans Obris, which is a guy, an author who I really looking up to, and he did this. Perhaps one of his earliest curated exhibition was done in his own kitchen, and then the fridge is actually part of his exhibition. So that's how he start his journey as a curator, and I think that's quite interesting. And then this today's episode is gonna be pretty much about discussion and discourse, where um I don't think our audience should expect too much of the design or techniques, or the renders, but it's rather about the soft side of assignment and also our friendship in a way. So formally, without further ado, hi Ryoga, how are you?
Hello, Gary. Long time no talk.
Real time no see,
Oh,
long time no talk as well.
no, man.
So I think what would be interesting that I would throw the first question is, how would you introduce yourself? Because you have been everywhere, you have been anyone in a way.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. I'm Ryoga, Gary's friend,
Close friend.
so, close friend. So, I don't know how to introduce myself because I am a architecture graduate, but right now I'm not working as an architect, rather as uh, kind of like working in a factory for fabrication, like knock down houses and stuff like that. Because I'm working now in a secluded area where mining is a very
Mm,
big industry.
mm,
So they wanted to have like a big a lot of mess hall,
Yeah.
kitchen and stuff like that.
Right.
So I was doing that, but in my free time, I do art quite a lot, because I wanted to do art. So still things that keep me sane, bro. If
Yeah.
not, like I'm going to be crazy with work, just
With
going off work like
with
8 to 5, like
with
without
a lot
any.
of money as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why, bro. Like so now, like before, like architecture trained us to be idealistic, right?
Yeah.
Because it you use your imagination, and then like how you going to perceive this theory, and then how do you build this stuff, something like that, and then you go to work, right? Suddenly you're designing like bathroom and it's like small
Yeah.
houses, like, and before you designing museum and shit like that, like
Yeah.
reality hits you like a truck, bro. And then now just like I remember your talk, and then like your thesis talking about money,
Yeah.
and then it's sometimes like we don't have that kind of knowledge and understanding that it's quite important for you to reach your idealism. That's you need
Yeah.
to be fulfilled.
I
In,
think we both quite interested in the idea of dualism, where we talk a lot about this kind of duality and also
yeah,
polarity. Um, so anyone interested to know more about the video that I did for my final year thesis, just let me know. It's actually, well, it's not something that I would share around, but I'm proud to say that the video was done by myself and Ryoga. So Ryoga was like kind of doing the interview. So I enjoy it very much. I think today's discussion is kind of like a follow-up of that episode.
yeah, and
You
we
know,
go
we
tangent as well, bro.
yeah, protectionist. Because what's interesting is because we were talking about architectural practice and entrepreneurship or business, where I am always keen to talk about the soft side, where let's not talk about drawing, but rather attitudes or
Yeah.
behavior to see works. I think somehow later on we might talk about that. And how are you doing so far? Like, how do you feel? I think that could be part of the quote unquote career shame occurs when you study for a certain subject for 7 years, a good 7 years, and
Yeah.
then plus you practice as well. And then
Mm.
how do you find the lessons or the application of the lesson that you learn from the school into your current position?
So this is, I think, what's beautiful about architecture is actually you're not only learning about the subject itself,
Yeah.
but rather more into the soft skill. What you said, because I think if you learn architecture, right, you learn one of two most prominent skill, which is
Mm.
critical thinking
Yeah.
and problem solving.
Yeah.
So I think these two could be used in any other subject. That is why like a lot of architecture graduates will be have a different kind of job, like go tangent, like movies, director, jewelry designer, and
Yeah.
then furniture. Like they can do all of that because they have like a strong basis. These 7 years, what they train us to do is like critical thinking
Yeah.
and problem solving. So right now, even though I'm not doing architecture as much, more into a civil engineer, if I
Yeah.
can say that,
But it's still relevant.
it's still relevant. But I feel that it's a new thing and a lot of things that I don't know, and it's it's like a project. So I try to learn about it. I try to find the perfect solution, learn from my solution, and then like improve and stuff like that. So I find it every day is challenging. So I think it's better for me to do that rather than um, designing something that I don't like.
Mm.
You know what you got what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sure.
not doing my idealism rather than doing other thing else.
Mm.
It keep me fulfilled, I think. So I'm quite happy with my work right now.
I mean, briefly, maybe we can let the others, the audience know what your background in terms of your education. So you did your degree in Newcastle,
Yeah, Newcastle. I
and then
did.
you practiced for a year,
I think it's around 2 years. So I
2 years
mostly work in resort building. That was
in
fun
Indonesia.
in Indonesia. Yeah, that was fun. That
Yeah,
was fun. I get free diving and stuff like that, and work in a very remote island, very beautiful.
you got your
So
license, no?
yeah, I got my license still, but like it's dead now because of COVID, and everything's not open yet. So I'm still waiting for that, so I
You
can
need
go diving.
you need a
And then
bathtub, huh?
go to I went to Strathclyde for my masters, and then I met Gary there. We
It's
don't know
interesting.
each other first year, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because we knew each other because of Discord, and then somehow I think it was the beginning of COVID period,
Yeah.
and then because we were locked down at home, and then we talk quite often in Discord, and then somehow I think, wow, this guy is really interesting. Let's go to Pesano for pizza.
Yeah, yeah, bro. And then suddenly, like, hey, you want some pizza? If you don't ask me that, we never talk whatsoever. Because I was like, okay, like that.
I still remember that night because our dinner was about I think it was like 5 o'clock because it was winter time, and then 5 o'clock it was totally almost dark.
Yeah.
So we went to Pesano for pizza, and then afterward we just sit at the George Square, and then we just walking around, not have no idea where to go, and then we
Yeah, and it's like, you want to come to my room? We can
your
drink some
place
beer.
lah, not your room.
Right, it's still a room, bro.
Okay,
I haven't
yeah.
moved to that house, right? So it's still like student accommodation, and it's like we go there, drink, and then talk tangent about. I forgot. I think it's about
About two
what
years
is
ago,
it about?
at least 1 or 2 years ago. I know 1 year
Yeah,
plus ago.
1 year plus, man. It's a very long time, actually.
Yeah, and then we talk about Sapiens.
Yeah. We talk about Sapiens a lot. Yeah, that's true.
Uh, yeah, I mean I think that's the, I mean, it's not all the time that I wish to talk about money in, financial sustainability, but there
Yeah.
are certain values that I really learned a lot, throughout my life in Glasgow, is to value friendship. And that's something really fun where, doing architecture is quite tough. You sometimes really need friends to go
Yeah.
around and to have discussion. And I think that sort of culture is a studio culture in a way. That's pretty much the topic of today's discussion, where we talk about how discussion or friendship or hanging out actually helpful for your thinking or your assignment.
Yeah, that's true. Because that's what I feel. Coming back from architecture school, where you just go to your studio, hang
Yeah,
out, and talk about your project to people. People critique you, share ideas, and then like it become a melting pot. You brew
yeah,
your ideas like that, and then I don't have that when COVID hits.
yeah,
So it's very differently this 2 years, whereas I wanted that kind of discourse. That's why we go to Discord, right? To 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 have discussion and stuff like that. And then thankfully I can move into another house, and then we can set out our own studio
yeah,
where we work as a unit. So I think that discussion is very, very important. Like that kind of it's like metal, like you need to bang it every
yeah,
day, heat it, and then to make it sharp, you need to sharpen that metal into a sword if you want it to be.
yeah,
Without that, it's going to be a dull,
yeah,
a dull project. So I think with that kind of mentality and then that kind of atmosphere, we can
yeah,
achieve quite a lot
yeah.
during that COVID.
And,
Yeah.
and and the funny thing is, because we actually did one episode with Ririk from Jakarta as well.
Oh yeah.
So that really reminds me that time both of us actually did quite a lot of online event and things in a way. So that's sort of push us to another level of, okay, friendship could be fun, but there are certain layers that we can talk deep shit about certain things.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. We can like talk about like weird stuff. I don't know. Sometimes like you cannot make it happen. It just happen when you just go out and smoke, and then suddenly, oh, something, and you just talk tangent for an hour about that shit.
I miss that bridge, man.
Yeah. Miss that bridge, bro. Just go out and smoke, and then like coming back again, do your work again.
I,
But
I,
but
I
like
I personally don't encourage smoking, of course, but at that point of time, when you are in like 4 o'clock in the morning, you really need to have some fresh air session.
yeah. But that is why I start smoking when I go to
This is not a good tips.
But yeah, I just wanted to have a time break, um, not in front of my computer.
I
That's
think
it.
that's where most of the discussion comes in as well. It's like we just get out from the house. The moment you step out from the door, very quietly because next door there is people there. So you need to lock the door quietly. Go to the fire staircase, close the door softly, and then go to the bridge. And the whole ritual and whole routine I can still remember. And sometimes we go down to the balcony. So that space out session actually allows you to rethink like, hey Ryoga, what do you think if I redraw the whole freaking axonometry by hand? Hey Ryoga, what do you think if I do a video about the butcher?
Yeah. So I think it's just like when you come home, right? And then like you go out from your working area, and then you let your guard one by one, it's like clothing. You take out your coat, and then you take out your clothes until you're naked, and then like you can speak freely of your mind. It's just you become so in tune with yourself, I think, or maybe you become like chill. You're not touching your work, and then you can start thinking about your work outside of the box. So I think that kind of a moment is really needed. That is where the discussion is, right? Even though you are in the studio, the discussion is different. If you're going out in that fresh air smoking, obviously, right? So I think this atmospheric quality of a space itself and the atmosphere determine how the discussion goes, which is quite interesting, man.
I think somehow we understand each other better, or we give example, or we teach others, or we taught by others. I think the best example is really metaphor or analogy, where even we talk about certain discussion, we can somehow, hey Gary, think about this. If you smoke slowly, or you think slowly, or breathe slowly, you can see things much more clearer. And then we tend to how to put live elements into our assignment, where put things simple, so that allows the presentation to look much more simpler in a way. I think that's interesting because yesterday I went to the meditation class, and then the instructor was saying that don't make this difficult, just make it simple, like just one or two. And then and this is something interesting where even when we come to presentation board use of colors, we only like maximum 3. You don't want to use too much. You can go ahead with a lot. I know that Ryoga is a very colorful person. But there are certain principles or fundamentals that are really, really basic, where you narrow down into very, very simple terms. And then when you present, and I can still remember like Shing was presenting his idea. We were all helping him to, we are all having a brainstorming session. And to put the big idea into a small digestible idea. So that's fun in a way, and in life is similar in a way. At a certain point, we really hesitate, like, oh, should I go back to UK, or should I stay, or things like this. That perhaps that's something that
it's hard as well, bro.
Sorry?
Doing that is hard.
Making
a big idea into like small, like talk about it like as a brief. That's really hard, bro. I struggle with mine as well. And then just summarizing that stuff.
I recently found, sorry, I mean another leeway. So this episode is gonna be lots of more leeways. But I thought another quote that would be quite interesting, since we were talking about like you study architecture and then now you're doing something else, even though it's still construction related. So this quote I read Apartamento. So it's actually a magazine. So this quote is actually written by a French-choice, I think I pronounced her name right, French-choice Molly. So she's actually an editor in the magazine, of a magazine. So she said, I think studying architecture is a great discipline. Everyone should do it, but not everyone should be an architect. But everyone should have that holistic approach, learning all the different ways of representing an idea. So how do you find that, like, whatever you study, even though in your primary to secondary to studying in Newcastle and then Newcastle to Glasgow, how do you find the process or the loop or the learning curve along the way?
Learning curve of architecture is hard, bro. Suddenly just like that. So
exponential.
I remember the first time I went to my first year. So it's not even the first year, it's a foundation year, because our high school is different compared to the UK, right? So it will be like the same level. So I went for a foundation, And then all of my other friends is like from Russia, and then like from Hong Kong, from China, and most of them study art, man. Their drawing's amazing.
Yeah.
Like they can just stand there and sketch the buildings, like look like that, man. Where I draw like shit, man. Oh my god, it was like it's crazy, the learning curve, right? So, and then I got like a very not harsh, but like a very strict strict and harsh tutor, Thomas. Shout out for Thomas. Thank you for make me learn the hard way. And then Thomas never liked my idea, man. He never liked my idea. So I was like, why? You know, it's like making my life hard. So
Yeah.
and we have three projects, right? Like making a relief, a cube, and then a situtory. So it's like a place to sit
Yeah.
and in a park and stuff like that. So and then like for the first semester, my relief and cube were like Thomas never liked my idea. So I was doing two of each, man. So two relief and two cube. One is his idea that he liked, and then one is my idea. And then the other is his idea, and then the cube is one of his idea, and then the second one is my own idea. And then in the end, right, he liked my own idea, bro. So in there, right, I learned something very valuable, that sometimes you just need to trust your guts, and then you just need to trust, and then sharpen that skill and your guts and your belief. If it's good, prove it that it's good, you know, even though people slay it.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very it's the first journey of my critical thinking and then problem solving um, skill that will be sharpened inside architecture school. And after the foundation, bro, the first year, second year, third year is become easier and easier and easier. Even though that I cannot draw as well as my friend that can draw where they can sit and like sketch about a building like perfectly. But I figure that architecture is not only about that, but it's about idea and how you communicate that idea to people towards your drawing and your design and stuff like that. So I learned the hard way. I almost had breakdown, bro. Thank God I have my mom. So my
When
mom,
was it you had that tough mile point or milestone where brings you, you know, it's not like a steady curve, but rather it's like a almost like a shoot.
yeah.
I mean, when
So
was it? Is it like year one you mentioned?
foundation, bro, before year
Foundation.
one, foundation. And then in year one, because we still use all of our hands, so we cannot touch any computers right in Newcastle the
Yeah.
first year. So we still need drawing. So it's almost the same as foundation. So I just enhance my skill. And then second year, bro. Second year is another exponential growth, because
Yeah.
there we start to mess around with SketchUp, AutoCAD, Rhino, and then I don't know if Newcastle is good or a fucked up things in Newcastle, right? But that school does not teach us in depth about that programs.
Yeah.
So they let you like, yeah, do learn it for yourself and then like do it for yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And then most of the people's like a lot of people already have experience is Maya. They use Maya, and then my friend picked up me and my friend picked up SketchUp and AutoCAD, which is because it's the easiest, right?
Yeah.
And then but like a lot of people, and then other people pick up Rhino, and then pick up what is that? A lot of
3ds Max.
Revit,
Oh.
3D Max, also like, and then because of that, right, the school become very rich.
Yeah.
In
Diverse
style,
as well.
yes, yeah, in diverse. So I don't know if it's a fucked up thing that they don't teach us that the 3D.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think it's a beautiful thing when you just go out to studio and then see people's work.
Yeah.
Everyone have different approach,
Yeah.
different answer, and then that strengthened my belief that sometimes you just need to trust your guts and your design, that you just need to go forward with it, and then just sharpen that.
Well, I think the so-called breakdown moment, it only appears, and I hope it happens earlier if it can. In a way, whatever mistake in my mind, if you can make as much as mistake that you can make, I think, you know, study time is the best time to make all the mistake.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm not sure what do you think. It's like after work, right? You can, of course, there are always mistake, you know, happen. But it's just that in the practice or when you're working, and the mistake is sort of understandable, where you still can try to understand how it works and how to repair it back, because of your mind knowing the fact that, okay, if this thing's really fucked up, you know how to pull it back.
Yeah.
But when you was young, during the study, you don't know how to fix it. So that's why you have the breakdown moment, because you're not sure what are the solutions.
Yeah. But I think in work, right, you will have another breakdown moment, I think, bro. Like
Sure,
another
sure.
exponential curve. Because suddenly there's another point joining the party, which is money.
Mm,
You fucked up, you need to pay, right?
yeah,
Either with your salary or like whatever, or like your company and you got scolded and stuff like that. But like there is another point that we need to think that is very, very heavy.
yeah,
Because I think the word that I'm trying to I'm looking for is responsibility.
yeah,
there's there's not so much responsibility of the project or getting fucked up in uni, because you can do whatever you want. That's why a lot of people in uni is so idealistic, and then you go out to real life and you start to become realistic, because you have
mm.
this responsibility and money getting in a play
But
in the
when you
group.
when you talk about this sort of gap or transition between, after you graduated into the so-called realistic world,
Mm.
I mean, for you, do you find it a lot of difference, or you just find it like, oh, it's just another phase of life?
Oh, that's hard, bro. It's a lot of difference, but like,
I mean, mentality wise, you are quite mature in a way that you sort of train up this kind of thinking when you were in study. I mean, even before we graduated, it's sort of like the last 6 months or 3 months, you sort of start to plan like what you're gonna see in, after you graduate. What, things are
yeah,
getting more serious in a way. Okay, I need to move. I need to pack up my stuff. I need to get a ticket back to Jakarta or things like this,
yeah.
where it's slowly building up that kind of belief where, okay, I'm going back to Indonesia, I'm going back to Malaysia, things like this.
Mm. So yeah, so I think that realization start after my graduation of the first year. No, not first year. Sorry, my undergrad.
Okay.
So I think that is why I think UK's curriculum is really good. If you want to go to RIBA Part One after your and you want to go to RIBA Part Two, you need to work before going to RIBA Part Two, right?
Yeah.
RIBA Part One, you need to work RIBA Part Two. So it's good, bro, because I think that's where you start to know what kind of direction you want, and then what you want to be in life, and then what you want to achieve. So I think these 2 years of my working experience, suddenly it's like I click. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. I want to be like that. I'm like, okay, I don't think I want to be an architect.
Yeah.
So after that 2 years, I don't want to be an architect. That's my decision. But
Yeah.
I still study architecture in the
Yeah.
second in my for post grad, because I love architecture.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I need to become an architect, but I love architecture. The idea of like making ideas into reality, manifesting the ideas into reality as
Yeah.
uh, to solve a problem and stuff like that is amazing. Architecture school is so good, bro.
Yeah. And I think that's sort of like, we mentioned about this kind of between postgrad and working, between undergrad and postgrad, between lecturer and yourself, where negotiating the idea. Um, it's kind of like a bar or a spectrum where you try to pull for that sweet spot where, okay, I am happy, my lecturer is happy, I got to do the things that I like, and got to
Mm.
things that got to do the things that my lecturer thinks that is good, or got to think about like, okay, my employer might be happy about my performance or things like this.
Yeah.
Um, so that I mean, so I came across quite a few young students who actually have a lot of struggle where, say, the Mr. P or Mr. Who's your tutor again? Mr. P,
Mr. Z,
Mr.
Mr. A.
G. It's tough because I remember you had a few tough time where you really like a certain idea, but you trying to, I'm not sure if I should use the word fulfill, or to trust their instinct or professional viewpoint
Yeah.
on your idea, where you yeah, you start to think like, okay, I'm just a student, but that doesn't mean that I'm young and my ideas are not usable.
Yeah. So it it architecture trained me another skill, which is kind of like the critical thinking. So usually, like if I go to a tutorial, right, and then like this is a good idea, and then suddenly your tutor flip your boat, bro. This bad fuck is like that, right? And it's like, oh, you do yoga, don't do this, like, oh my god, you know. But
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go back, have a good dinner, like, okay, I'm doing great today, right? And I
Yeah.
take a good shower and go to sleep, man.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow I'm going to start to think why he thought like
Yeah.
why he give me that kind of
Yeah.
critic. I need to
Yeah.
understand, maybe in that moment we need to understand that our tutor is a human too. So
Yeah.
everything that he told us in that short span of time is very spontaneous. So sometimes maybe our delivery is not good enough, so he does not understand our idea.
Yeah.
Two, our idea is not it's not baked enough. You know, it's not mature enough
It's not
to
well
be.
cooked.
It's not well cooked enough. Yes, of course. And then it's just we need to show more that he need to understand. Right? Three, or maybe your idea is shit as fuck, man. Or four, actually is good, but he want to critique to improve our ideas.
Right.
So
Right.
and then like I need to start to think about these 4 points, and then like whatever I come out in the end, I'm going to go with it. You know, because in the end, who know more about your project than yourself? Is
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
So and then I'm just okay. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go with this idea because I think in my present time, this is the best idea that I can think of.
Hmm.
Other stuff does not speak to me. It's shit. So I'm going to go with this idea and just go with it.
I do have a question. So we were talking about this kind of negotiation between you yourself as the individual
Yeah.
and to someone's self, which is, you know, Mr. P or Mr. G.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually a internal and external self kind of communication and conversation. But when
Yeah.
it comes to, you know, I mean, in the end, it's really the confidence that you gain along the way where you think that, okay, my idea is good. That's why I'm so confident and I know how to present the ideas better. But
Yeah.
when it comes to, I mean, the confidence also built up by a lot of other factors. For example, like drawing skill, you know, your technique, your tools,
Of course.
or you're eager to learn, or your attitude. How do you see an assignment as well? When it comes to that, if I can metaphor the idea of assignment into your drawing, where how do you find your drawing skill? This is what I saw your, you know, final year project, you know, talking about this kind of butcher culture, butcher idea, meat industry, and, you know, fast forward to now what you are doing to NFT as well, or the graphics. Um, I'm quite curious how does it work with the conversation between you yourself, like Ryoga 1 and Ryoga 2, in terms of technique, like drawing wise. How do you build up the confidence along the way? And perhaps you can give an example of one of your earliest drawing and what was it be?
Bro, my earliest drawing is so bad, but I think like it's part of the learning curve because I started not as an architect, but someone that like to paint. So, but it's not. I just like colors and painting and stuff like that. And I like, and I asked my parents, I want to be a painter. It's like, and Asian parents like, where are you going to get food from that? So like, don't be a painter, something like that.
How
But
can
like,
you
I'm
earn your
thankful.
money?
Yeah, I'm thankful because that's the idealistic me talking to my parents, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like, okay, we can start doing architecture, and I go architecture, bro. I fall in love, right? But
Yeah.
in the spare moment, I do art like a drawing and stuff like that. I started wanting to show off, bro. I started my art as wanting to show off, right? Or maybe I can sell my art and stuff like that. And still,
Okay.
that kind of idea still live in me, inside me.
I mean, that's interesting because sorry
Mm.
to chip in because
Okay.
so after the crit, right, usually you have your last session to have a chat with your tutors. I had
Yeah.
mine, and then they asked me, what do you think of the project? Do you happy? I said, yeah, I'm happy. I know that the grade is not like too, you know, it's so not like super top grade, but it's enough. I think it's enough. So they asked me, what do you learn from, you know, the whole assignment? And I say, I was trying my best how to impress others and also how to make my drawing looks cool.
Yeah, yeah, right. But that's the starting point where you start to give a shit about your work, right? You
Yeah.
start to put effort on it, even
And
though in the end like it's not because of that again. You just already change your motive, becoming like, oh, I want to fulfill myself.
Yeah.
But before is we don't be like an asshole and say that you never felt that. Of course, first you want to impress someone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Impress a
Yeah.
girl, impress your friends, impress your tutor. Of course, bro.
So
Of course.
if we are if we are a peacock, so the drawings will be our feather.
Yes, of course. That's the first thing, bro. And then like I was messing around with Photoshop, right? This my second year, the first time I touched Photoshop, man. Not and then like I start to join a community, like Indonesian community in Newcastle, and then I start to doing flyer for them, doing flyer in Photoshop, doing a random Instagram post because I want my Instagram to look cool.
Yeah.
That moment I give a shit about my Instagram post, right? Right. I wanted to be like, oh, 3 colors and shit like that. It was like cool design. But because of that, I start to learn Photoshop in depth. So maybe this week I learned about brush.
Yeah.
Right. So I just do like a lot of like cool shit about brush, post
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then like maybe today is about lasso, tomorrow is about different tools, blah 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 blah. And I just keep posting every day.
And
Not every day, maybe a
yeah.
week,
Yeah.
3 times, 4 times. But that kind of like one thing start the fire of curiosity in my heart. It's like, oh, actually I can do this, and then I stopped caring about my Instagram rather than I care about the work more. But at first I want to have impressive Instagram posts, of course. I want to look cool, right? And I want to find a good girl that is artsy as well. It's like, oh shit, man, girl going to look at my Instagram, going to look.
So it helps you not just assignment, but in your personal life as well.
Yeah, but it's actually because of that I survived architecture school. If not, I cannot survive.
It's interesting, right? Because I was actually so Four Walls and a Roof, the one written by Rainer de Graaf, he was talking about architects are supposed to be charismatic.
I think so.
But don't get me wrong, because I mean we can talk about, I mean there's another question that I'm gonna ask you, but that's quite interesting because we actually get the idea of trust and also confidence by, like from others. I mean, you shock sendiri means you give your own self confidence and happiness, but also it derived from the others where you channel this kind of motivation from the others, and then you improve your tools, improve your skill, improve your technique and all this.
Yeah, that's true. It starts from outside first, and then when you feel that outside is not what you think it is, right? It's like, oh, your expectation of getting praise is like this, but suddenly like you found another fire that you wanted to do because you wanted to do it. It become passion, bro.
Yeah,
that is why I fall in love more and more and more into architecture. It's crazy, this world architecture. As I don't know, man, we study everything: anthropology, geology, everything, history. What the fuck is architecture, man? I swear.
but I think when it comes to this time, right, I would like to ask, how do you see fame and reputation?
Oh, of course I want to be famous, right? I want to be like a very good
it's interesting, because I came across a few friends, they mentioned they don't want to be famous, which I totally understand, because they don't want to stay high profile and all this. They rather, it's like you looking at a person, you wanted to well known to be being a good person rather than a good looking person kind of thing.
Yeah, but I wanted my work speak volume rather than myself. Is that make sense?
So it means a good looking person speaks louder first.
No,
Point.
My work rather than myself, right?
But your works is gonna be quite judgmental at first point by the first impression before you say anything, no?
Huh? What do you mean?
As in, like, the outside, you see the outside first rather than you know about the meaning behind.
That is true, though. That is true.
So when you look at the, let's say, NFT, for example, the works like the Aterraverse, when I look at the first graphic, I haven't asked about a lot of things like, why is it mushroom? Why is it human? Why is there any map? Why is there it's a journey or things like that before I go into that, I start to be very attracted by the fact that it's colorful, and I'm quite curious why they are curves, those are the details, but at first point I already like attracted, okay, this is the works that I'm going to look at. And how do you see that? Because now you are doing NFT in a way, or maybe not just about NFT in general. It's graphics. So it's about capturing attention at first point, even though you don't want to, but that's
Yeah,
the
sure.
works, no?
Yeah, that's true. But and then that's the reality that we live in right now, where I learned a lot trying to do my own NFT, which now is not it's not working as what I intended to be,
Yeah.
because um, but I learned a lot in that span of time of 6 months, because I try to do everything by myself, which is I'm not a coder, and then I'm not that's the worst thing is I'm not a coder, so I cannot code my own shit.
Mm.
So I need to put extra effort to code, right? But what I learned is like, if you have the traction, right? If you are well known, you're famous, you have the reputation, people are going to trust you even more with
Mm.
that project.
Mm.
So trust is very important in a lot of things. For example, if you're an architect, why people go to your office and ask you to design? Because they trust that you're going to deliver a good
Mm.
design.
Mm. Mm.
If you don't have this reputation, you don't build this reputation or this fame, right? How can you get that trust from other people?
Mm.
Because before I was living in the world, in the bubble, where if I do my best, right, if I deliver a good attention puller of art and stuff like that, people going to come and, oh, you're doing a great job, you're doing a good job, you're doing a good art, a good project. But it's not going to happen, bro. You need to build that reputation and fame. So yeah, so if
I,
you ask me right now, I was like, yeah, bro, I want to be famous and have a good reputation, but
yeah.
I understand why people doesn't want that, because to keep that reputation and fame, have you need to put more effort
Mm.
to keep your reputation good.
It's a
You need to,
maintenance as well.
yeah, and then like it just become like a very diluted, complicated world out there, I
Mm.
think.
Where you are blinded by fame rather than the things that you
Yeah,
like to do.
sometimes I don't want, but like you cannot be too idealistic, I think, in life. That you need to be a, a balance between this idealism and realism.
Do
That
you think that the being famous is part of the realism?
I think so, because like who doesn't want, a lot of people doesn't want to be famous, right? Maybe just wanted to live very peacefully with life and just go on with life. But
Yeah.
I think because I came from an artist background where I want my art to speak volume, then therefore I want to be famous, right? If you think about it, like I want my art to be well known. Of course, I want people to know me. At
Mm.
first, I don't. And when I'm doing the my NFT project, right, I don't want people to know me, so I don't put my real name. I use other name, blah
Mm.
blah blah. But in the end, right, how can you, is it could be anyone. It could be anonymous, in the internet. How can you gain trust from people if you don't tell who you are, what is your background,
Mm.
and stuff like
Mm.
that to people? So yeah, I think that's a very complicated thing about fame and
Mm.
reputation. But I think it's very important to have a good
And at some
reputation.
point, because
Not,
especially, yeah, especially we live in the digital age where your reputation is pretty much out there.
yeah, man. But like I think it's not only about, maybe fame could, I can put aside fame, but reputation is more important than fame, I
Right.
think.
Right.
Reputation, good reputation. So people can come and trust you.
Mm.
And then like of course you don't want to betray this trust because you want to keep your good reputation. It's a cycle. If you want to build a good reputation, you do not want to betray people's trust. So I
Mm.
think, yeah, that's the
Mm.
cycle.
Mm. I mean, what about for? I mean, I knew a few really, really talented architecture students, or they tend to be inclined to be much more artists rather than when we talk about architecture, it tends to be a certain genre as well. There's a trend. It's like, oh, I don't want to do a certain project. I don't want to do commercial project because it doesn't make me famous. I want to be a designer. This kind
Yeah,
of very. I think this kind of idealistic mindset is actually sort of trained during our school, where being special is actually kind of like related to fame. It's a science of fame where you wanted to be famous. Otherwise, your tutor might be like, or not just your tutor, your friends might be thinking, huh, You design a box, and then how do you, even how you design a box, how would you demonstrate this is a good fucking box?
Yeah. I agree. So it's like design something grandiose, right? Very big and like wow, very uh like firework everywhere and stuff like that. But I learned from Mr. P and Mr. G. Shout out to them, bro. Amazing
Yeah.
Twitter. Like it's not about that, but it's about how your project um, have contribution to the society and
Yeah.
how it can start to answer a question and then problems that we have in as a species. So like when I was talking about butcher, I was talking about food supply, because if we don't have food supply, how can we live as a human being is like our top priority. But a lot of people, especially in our era, right? Have you ever talked to people and like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a farmer, bro. Nobody, bro. I have never. Only one of my friends. I was like, I want to be a farmer when I was big, but nobody wanted that kind of industry anymore, because even though that industry is very, very crucial in our life, food, right? So we a lot of like young people want to do the famous, the good reputation, the grandiose work all over the world. But I think a lot of work that is forgotten right now is actually that the mundane and but get you a lot of money. You see a lot of like big company around the world is Unilever. Is Unilever food? Unilever is food, right? And so like
It's
in
as a
Indonesia,
food
Indomie,
supplier.
bro.
Yeah.
Indomie fucking big, just selling like instant noodle and stuff like that. But it's a big company, and it's all of them is consumable. It's food, especially cigarettes, man.
Yeah.
Cigarettes consumable, man. I think it's just like on top of like food as a cigarette, right?
You don't put it into your stomach, but it's actually a food kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's a
right.
mental food.
But I don't know what I'm trying to say right now, but like I think we from the start, of course, when we are little, we want to be something that is great. If
But
sometimes it's greater than
I mean,
yourself.
in I'm not sure, is it Sapiens or another book called Wired by Culture? So it says that we are actually living in the market of reputation, where we are not selling our talent, what we are selling our name. And this is quite well, I mean, just now what we said about architecture course is how great it is, how good it is as, providing a very holistic approach for us to face, I mean, it's a problem solving, critical thinking kind of thing. But now I'm gonna talk bad about architectural education and also academy, because we tend to be stand out in a way.
Yeah, that's true.
And how do you, being special, it becomes like, one, like I said just now, is being charismatic. Being charismatic means you need to stand out, and you be above average in a way. And architecture education sort of fuel up and encourage this kind of trend where, real guy, you must be special, real guy, you must be good, real guy, you must do more drawing. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure, what do you think? That's where this is the downside of,
Yeah. That is why we work so much in architecture. It's one of like the I think one of the most courses in uni that people don't go to sleep, right?
yeah.
We put so much effort on it because we need to do a lot of things and we want to achieve a lot of things. Like imagine in one room there's 100 people that ask to be special. How
Yeah.
can the all of them be special, right? And
Yeah.
how all of them deliver that good stuff. So that's why sometimes I wonder like, oh my God, I'm a masochist, man. I like to feel like this. I like to hard work, no sleeps, like, and like it become a trophy for us, right? You think like, oh, I did not sleep yesterday, Gary. Like, I think
Like
I'm not going
flexing around.
to again. It's like I'm not sleeping, bro. It's like I go flexing. It's like, oh, back in my post grad, I only sleep like 4 hours, 3 hours,
Can
two
you do
hours
that?
max. Like, did you do that? It become this very toxic if you think about it. It
It is.
become
It
a
is.
trophy, man. Not sleeping become a trophy. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, that's why
But
I don't encourage that, and I don't give a shit about it. I say, okay, today I'm gonna finish my axonometry, done. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna go read. Fuck this shit, man.
yeah, but I don't know how they're going to change that in architecture. I don't know how, because they ask us to understand a lot of things in a very short amount of time, even though we are, compared to other courses, we are quite long, right? Like part one, working, part two, working, part three, right? So I think you cannot learn that a lot of stuff in that very fast. That's why a lot of architecture is a late bloomer, like 50s, 40s, you know,
Right.
they started to grow and like boom, like their work is very good in that kind of ages because they spent, most of them spend that hard work and time in learning about architecture
Yeah.
and how to make this space and stuff like that. So I don't know how they're going to fix that toxic culture. I don't think they can. I don't think architecture people can. And then even though I say that it's toxic, right? I enjoy it. That's why I said I'm a masochist, man. Fuck.
Kill you with kindness.
Yeah, man, crazy. Architect student is crazy, man. That's like shout out to all of people that are taking architecture. That's why if young people, right, goes to me, it's like, why are you an architect? I want to be an architect. I'll say, don't, man.
It's much more like you need to be confident about what you believe than what you want to be. I mean, it's almost the same. You got. I mean, it's rather than I want you to think like what you might be doing after graduated rather than what you want to be.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It, because you can be architect, sure, go, but
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you might do the things that you might enjoy as an architect.
Yeah.
And
Elon Musk said this one thing about this, bro. Is what's wrong with us is wishful thinking.
ritual thinking,
Wishful
which
thinking.
world thinking,
No, wishful.
or which world?
Wish. So you wish something will happen rather than taking the reality that something else going to happen. Like if you taking a stock or cryptocurrency, whatever, NFT, you buy that, right? You want the value to go up. That's wishful thinking. The reality, it can go up or go down. That is what's wrong. So if you wanted to go as a student and you want your wishful thinking is to become a great architect, that's wishful thinking. But there's nothing wrong with that as well, actually. If I
Yeah.
say the contrary, like because it's what we are grown to be. Chase your dream, right? Do what you like, chase your dream, stuff like that. And one of Indonesian president said that dream as high as the stars. So if you fall, you land among the clouds, bro. Fucking amazing. So
What's
I think,
yeah?
yeah,
I
I don't know
I
modernism
I
again.
can't remember. Is it called Barnum effect or something? Or some effect where the more you think about it, it will happen.
Yeah, or manifestation or something like that. Tom Holland do that, man.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland does Spider-Man. I don't know. A lot of memes saying that before Tom Holland become Spider-Man, like he keeps saying to people around, like he's going to be playing as a Spider-Man. He's in
Right.
Spider-Man outfit. And look at him now, bro. He's playing as a Spider-Man.
Huh.
So it's a manifestation or it's manifesting your destiny or something like that. I'm not sure. But I don't know, bro. A lot of weird stuff happening in the world, I swear to God.
Right. Yeah, I can't remember. Is it? Oh, I don't think it's called Barnum. Barnum sounds like the greatest showman. That guy who is the magician. The
Oh, I
Barnum.
remember I saw that movie.
Yeah,
Did
the
I saw
greatest
it with
showman.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a great show, man.
that's the greatest showman. But yeah, um, I just thought that because when it comes to competition and originality, that's quite Darwinian in a way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we
Okay.
talk about origin of species as well, and I think it's one of the fundamental of capitalist world in a way because we celebrate this kind of competition, free market.
Yes.
I don't give a shit about you whether you are rich or poor. Let's fight, kind of thing. Where
Yeah.
who's strongest will win. But the downside is that the rich will become richer, the poor will become poorer in that way.
Yeah.
But I actually quite like to study that because it's actually somehow reflecting on the idea or the interest in economy where like talking about this kind of Adam Smith kind of economy or invisible hand theory and all this and I think for people who are actually don't wish to be famous or don't wish to stay humble or low profile, I totally get it, because there are certain points it's quite zen. I don't want to go fight. Stop it. I don't want to compete and all this.
Mm.
But there are things that when you are in realistic world, in a quite a corporate, quite a corporate context, where you really need to understand the power, start to think about how to handle people, how to manipulate people, how to interpret people, how to use people, not use, collaborate, how to work with people and all this. It's strange because we tend to talk about design like, when you go to the space, you see this window and things like, sure, those are the design where the beauty comes in, the beautiful things comes in. But before, how do you deliver the whole narrative is actually quite interesting, and we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
It's a whole negotiation. Yeah.
No, the negotiation is going back again to the talk about trust again, bro. So that where you begin to take your what do you call it? It's not your partner, your boss or like other workers, stuff like this, like their trust, right? You
Yeah.
start building their trust, give them delivery of your ideas, telling them it's going to be great and stuff like that. And it's like that is why I don't know. It's very weird, right? Trust and competition actually goes well together
Yeah.
because we are trying when you try to punch people, right? Compete,
Yeah.
like you go fight with me, right? You're going to bring your peers, right? Your teammates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why you start to negotiate with people, to okay, let's go to this goal together. And then when you reach that goal, right? You don't know if they're going to be friend or foe again. Sometimes maybe they're going to be foe, but a lot of times, like if you build a good reputation, they're going to be friends with you.
Right.
So I think my girlfriend talked about this once with me because my girlfriend read this book called How the Woman Rise. All woman rise. So in this book, like she told me that what's different about man and female. So male usually go, they can talk to others. Um, they don't care about their feeling. They just goes in the workplace, just uh, negotiate about business, just
Yeah.
like that. It's like, hey Gary, I have this project. Like, can we talk about it? And like, do you want to invest some money to me? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
uh, girl, they tend to feel using people like that. It's not ethical for them. That is why they cannot go straight forward to people. Whereas us as a guy, we can go like that. We don't care. We just like talk. It's like, okay, if it is beneficial for us, we go. So I think I don't know in the premise of this book they're telling the girls to do that or rather doing the opposite. I'm not sure, but this is our nature as a male. So it's quite interesting that is why like a lot of the debate and business goes as like male and to male, like they don't care about feelings, man. It just comes like, hey, let's go compete. I have proposal for you. It's like you agree with me, yes, and go like that.
Well,
Quite
I think the
interesting.
world changes, of course,
Yes.
where this kind of gender is not really a matter, but it's quite interesting to see by historical or anthropology statement or timeline, where you tend to see why guys are actually standing in the media much more
Yeah,
exposed
yeah.
with the exposure, and rather than girls. Why? I mean, but nowadays, of course, like I think that's where the book title comes in, and talks about the rising of
Yes.
women talents and female
So I think
entrepreneurship.
what's wrong is not between the difference between male and female or like girls and guys,
Yeah.
but it's the rules, the society rules of capitalism or something like that that we're living in right now. Like it's, if you think our life is like an online game or like a PS4 game or whatever, that's the rules, that's the logic of right now is capitalism.
Yeah.
And because of that, like people like us that don't care about others feelings and just like goes through our business
Yeah.
tend to have more exposure compared to people that is more compassionate to others,
Mm.
which is fucked up. I think that's fucked
Mm.
up. Maybe if we have different rules, girls can deliver much better than men. So there's nothing saying that man is better than woman, but because of our rules right now favor us rather than the female, which is fucked up, I think.
It's natural selection, my friend.
Shit, man. But like maybe like in the future, right? If you go to space, there's going to be a new system, not capitalism. I don't know, bro. Capitalism is a very new thing. Before it's like monarchy, man.
And this is all just without the context of gender. This is just talking about all the human beings.
Yes, yes, yes. I don't know, man. Maybe we can photosynthesize. So maybe like human can have like girls and males like changing. You don't know about the future, man. I don't know.
But I think that's a very interesting topic because we would. I'm always quite interested in the idea of meritocracy, competition, and originality of ideas. Where what really makes you stand out, and I think there's something a question that I can ask you because I often, when we first met, I just thought that, okay, this guy is really cool, hippie, and like an artist kind of vibe. Don't care about competition. Of course, you don't. But it's just that somehow you unconsciously, you might do something that somehow, when you're comparing the benchmark and what makes you think that, oh, Ryoga's work deserve a prize or things like this. And how do you find like, oh, I never always aim for the prize, but somehow comes to me and I didn't tell anyone that I actually, won some prize or things like I mean for you. And how do you feel about that? Like, where do you really need to aim for a certain thing to make it happen, or rather to make it happen, you need to achieve a prize to, to bring you forward? It's much more like a timeline where one is before, one is after.
No, so I think aiming for a prize is maybe it's a good thing. So it gives people motivation, right? But for myself, it's like my motivation is not that at all. My motivation is like, damn, this is my last year of me being idealistic. So that 2 years, right? I poured my heart and soul, blood and sweat, everything into
I
my
know
project.
you sleep like less than three
Yeah, man.
hours per day. Oh my God.
Because I think it's fun. It's the project is very, very fun for me, where I can speak whatever I want, whatever I think into a project, which is I think is fun because what I know, because before I'm coming to postgrad, I don't want to be an architect, right? But I love the study. I love the architecture study a lot. So after that, I know that I'm going to go to real work and I'm not going to take architecture. That is why my motivation is come into like me as myself enjoying myself doing my project rather than having the prize or whatever it is.
But I mean, when it comes to that, right? We are talking about so-called the good design, and when we talk about good design, you can say, oh, a certain furniture is nice, and then when you go to the branded or designer brands, everyone can sort of like go for the good design, and I mean, same goes to the architectural education as well, where actually technically everyone's design is not too bad because we somehow set the bar where standard is actually quite good. But do you find nowadays to be more competitive, you not just have to produce good design, but you need to produce more good design or more good drawings? So quantity and quality needs to be aligned.
So I think that competition is like from old times where capitalism already goes rampant. We already have competition, bro. You need to deliver that. As
Yeah.
an artist, you need to compete like Leonardo da Vinci, or like, is it Leonardo da Vinci that paint for the
Mona
church, right?
Lisa. Yeah.
Yeah, Mona Lisa and stuff like that. He have competition with other people. Like, I want to paint for this church. I want to paint
And Michelangelo and all this.
Michelangelo. Yeah, right. So they have competition as well, bro. So I think uh, as human, right? I think competition drive us forward rather than backward.
Yeah.
Even though it is going to seem inhumane or like seem like, oh my God, so many suffering.
Yeah.
But without that competition, we will not move forward as a species. It's like, oh, that guy have a Nobel Prize, right? I need to do my own research. It's like if you're thinking about like a scientific research, it's like, oh, this guy, blah blah blah. It's like, oh, I know, like there's a competition not with ourselves but with viruses. Maybe it's like,
Yeah.
oh, if COVID, if we don't find a cure for COVID, we're going to die or something like that, right? So we race. It's always a race, I think. It's always a race. So I was right now. I don't feel great about the what happening around the world with the war and stuff like that. I wish like people just go to war, space war, rather than war into ourselves. So who who's the first colonized Mars? Who's the first going to Pluto? Like, is
Mm,
that kind of war and that kind of competition? I think is more healthy rather than like the war itself. I think. So I'm not sure what I'm saying like from the first part, but I think there's some sort of competition that is not healthy, but others can thrive in with that competition. I think.
But I mean, you were talking, you talk about this quite a key term about race. Well, I mean, since our last personal conversation, and then when it comes to like Terraverse, it's kind of like not to race. And how do you find that? It's like not to be more aggressive. I mean, that's a different mentality when you were doing your assignment, and then now you're doing something different where, okay, I'm gonna do a long term because this thing has no deadline in a way. When compared to
Yeah,
final year project, you know that August,
yeah,
mid-August, that's gonna be final submission. So the idea of race is sort of changing in a way because you know that this
yeah.
is something more long term.
But because of that, right, it does not goes that well. So I think the race part of deadline and like trying to compete, trying to create friction, trying to make it happening is very important, even in your work. Even though you are outside your school already, you still need to have that mentality, I think, to push you forward. Without that, right, it's so easy to be lazy and to
Mm,
procrastinate, right? But I think there's nothing wrong with that as well. Sometimes you just need to enjoy your life because last when right now, right? Okay, I put my that stuff to a rest first, that
mm,
NFT project, because I feel like, damn, I need to learn a lot more because I thought it was a shortcut for me to sell my art because I told you, Gary, this small room in my heart, there's talking to me like, I just want to sell art, I just want to
yeah,
sell drawing, I just want to be an artist. So
yeah,
then reality hit me, and bam, I was like, damn, bro, I need to learn much more, and like I need to put more effort on that. But because of that, it humbled me again. It's like, oh shit,
mm,
okay, I need to learn more. It's like keep learning, keep learning. It's like keep your curiosity high, keep competing with have the race with yourself, competition with yourself, to push you more forward. Because can't help it, man. We live in a capitalistic world, whereas
mm,
where free time is demonized, man. It's like, oh,
mm,
especially Asian parents, Gary. It's like, okay, when you are small, right? Okay, you need to go to this courses, math courses, go
mm,
piano lesson, have basketball so you are taller, blah blah blah. I cannot blame my parents for doing that for me because they want me to be able to compete in the future with
mm.
other people. So that's what fucked up about this capitalistic world, where in the end is competition, races, and races.
If competition is the fundamental or the basic lessons that we need to learn before we face the reality, how would you tell the people who actually don't like to compete?
I think it's okay because that is why it's like if they have a certain skill and
Yeah,
then they fit in the gear of the society and then they have a place, right? So then it's okay because like maybe it's it's not only to if you think about it, right, why you need to compete is like to have a bigger cog, a higher cog in society, right?
yeah,
You want to be greedy, you want to be good, you want to be like successful, fucking rich and shit like that, right?
yeah,
That's why your parents, our parents, or like Asian parents, put us so many courses so we can compete more and become better than everyone else. But if you find your soft spot in society and then you're comfortable with that, right? That's okay, bro. Because like it's not only in your life, it's not only about compete, but sometimes you just need to go outside, touch some grass, bro,
yeah.
have some fresh air. That's what I learned, man. Because this 6 year, right, I go from work, go home, do that, learn coding, work, where, and I'm working with my girlfriend, right, where our relationship starting to have an argument and stuff like that, blah blah
Mm,
blah. A lot of friction, man, a lot of friction. And then I start to look at myself like, damn, I'm fucking toxic, man.
yeah,
If
right.
I so passionate about the work, I become fucking toxic. So I need to chill. I need to put this aside first. I need to breathe. I need to be more mature about this. I need to find the work-life balance that I'm looking for, which is fucking hard. Especially if you like working, it's fucking hard, man. If you love the work, you like work. It's fucking hard.
Interesting. How about okay? I mean, there are lots of things to talk about actually. I mean, it could be endless discussion. But I just thought to invite you to talk briefly about your final year project, about what our audience can have an idea. Well, I know this question comes really, really late, almost close to our ending.
Yes. So this is the ending question, yeah?
Yeah, there could be an ending question. So if you have to listen the whole thing, I was like so confused. What's the project we were talking about? There it is. Here's the question. So yeah, I mean, how do you find the continuous momentum between your final year project to Terraverse? I think not just presentation, but also the playful idea behind is always been quite linked in a way.
So my project start as a reflection and discussion between Ryoga 1 and Ryoga 2 and Ryoga 3 and Ryoga 4.
Okay.
That's why in the end, right, it become a theatrical of friction, of discussion, where I said that in the middle of my project that I have two roads that I can choose based on the discussion between my friends, but I choose none of them and choose the other one. So it become that amazing 1 year bit with Mr. P and Mr. G is me discovering myself and my belief of my idealistic belief of what should the world look like, what should I believe, what should I look like, what should my art headed, and then I tried new drawing and stuff like that. So it become a discussion of trying new things, right? And then suddenly Sheen come out like, hey man, you should sell your art in NFTs. Like, huh, that's quite interesting. So I tried to dig on it, and it's like, oh damn, I can sell my art on it. So it become, I think myself, right? If I'm interested, if it's something new, and I'm interested, I have the eagerness to learn. I have the discussion with myself and blah blah blah. And I don't know, maybe it gives me meaning to life. To keep going. To try different things in life. And I tend to chase that euphoric moment of something new. It's like, wow, I can do this, I can do this. It's like, oh, I have discussions like, oh, should I do that? Should I do that? So that's what I can say in a brief moment about my final year project and how it linked into my work right now. And then right now, even though we are almost 30s already, Gary, me almost 30s.
Stop reminding us.
You're still far away from there, Gary. But I think right now, actually, like there's another chapter of book that is quite new, that where you don't want to chase that crazy work hour, that euphoric moment, and then like you don't want to chase that. Rather than you want to chase something that is very stable and peaceful, rather than something that I don't know, bro. But like I don't know which one to choose right now. It's always duality of which one you choose, right?
And at this point, it's not just two side, but somehow two side like a cell division where 2 become 4, 4 becomes 16.
Yes. It's always like that. So right now it's just okay lah. I just enjoy my journey and talk to friends. Don't forget to talk to your friends. Talk to people. Talk to family. So yeah, that's very important.
And have a podcast with your
friends. Like right now, bro, I come to you, it's like, hey Gary, can you help me market my NFT? And then like the next month, it's like, fuck man, I failed. I need to do so much more. And then right now, right, I'm actually become a collector, Gary. Fucking love NFT world, bro. It's I don't know. I think it's like a gambling addiction. I swear to God, it's crazy world. Holy shit.
And it's actually a lot of deeper and layers that we don't know actually. A lot of people tend to think that NFT is so easy to earn money, but it's not.
Yes, it's not, man. It's very interesting. So for me, I stopped caring about, damn, I don't want to, if I can, I can make money. Thank God. If I cannot, I'm enjoying the community. I'm enjoying what is happening, how people push forward new ideas and the utilities of this new world, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Because it's like internet, man. Suddenly, like Friendster come, Google, Facebook, this new thing keep popping up. It's like back in the day. So right now, it's still like internet back in the days, bro. It's like Wild West, man. It's crazy, full of scammers. So if people interested in NFT, right, beware of scams. Oh my God, it's crazy. It's everywhere. But
And then
for me,
recently I just sent you the news of hacker just hack into the
ah,
Bitcoin so easily.
thank you, bro. Because of that, right, I learned a lot how to defend myself as well. So I hope God will always protect me. Amen.
Wish you all the best in the NFT journey then. I mean,
Yeah, man.
it's a new thing. It's not just new for you, it's a new for whole world. It's something very,
Yeah.
very new.
Yeah, it's very interesting for me because that thing is new, bro. So it's so interesting. I don't know, so many intricacy that I keep learning every day. It's
Yeah,
just amazing.
cool. Okay, I think um quite sad to say that we are actually comes to an end. I mean, of course, we always can have time to chat. I mean, on and off Zoom in a way that I think that's the friendship that I really value a lot. Um, I just maybe have one last question. I mean, you can actually throw us a question for myself or for yourself or even to our audience. What would be the question that you wish to ask?
Oh my God, you should ask me this from the message, bro, so I know what kind of question I need to
This is the
prepare.
spontaneous one.
Oh my God. Okay.
I
So
mean, yeah. I mean, I'm quite curious because you always ask people, but I never hear a question that you would like to ask yourself.
I want to ask what are you okay for people in listening. I want them to kind of like stop for a moment and then take a deep breath and then exhale slowly and then try to ask yourself, what are you trying to chase for?
Hmm. Even
What
chasing
is the
nothing is
rush?
also chasing.
Yeah, what is the rush? What is the rush? If because I don't know, for me, this past 6 months, I feel the rush.
And
So
adrenaline as well.
yeah, so why we are always rushing, man?
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah.
Interesting. That's something for me to reflect as well. I think I've been
Thank
chasing a
you,
lot.
Gary.
Thanks a lot, Ryoga. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I hope to catch up with you very soon. Of course, can't wait to fly over to Jakarta to meet you.
Oh, I hope what we are talking makes sense. I hope what I'm saying, right, is in chronologically order, have a very good grammar, and like people understand, man. Sometimes like
Don't worry.
I don't know what I'm talking about as well. It's
I've
just a
been
ramble, bro.
I've been doing so many episodes. I don't even understand what I have said.
Yeah, right. It's the beauty of discussion, and then
It's
like
the beauty of discussion. That's the today's discussion.
yes, this today's discussion is the beauty of discussion. What is
Let
this, bro?
we are
It's like
discussing about discuss.
yeah, it's like okay, very
Cool.
spontaneous. I love it though.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Ryoga. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, man, you too.
Right, cheers.